Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Brought to you by Junk Be Gone and the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source. We're happy to have you join us today. We've got an interesting show. It's kind of the first of a two-part dual show thing we're doing. This week we got some media members here to talk about some topics covering Tennessee football. Next week we're going to have VFLs come out and discuss some of the same topics. So we'll have sort of the media view of it, player view of it. I thought that would be an interesting way to do it. And also a lazy way to do it, so I can only have to come up with one show for 2 weeks. Let's talk about what we got going on. First segment brought to you by our friends at Junk Be Gone. Junk removal, small or large, do it yourself or have their teams load everything up for you. Paper shredding for your business, even small demolition work if you need a shed or fencing or boat removed, taken apart and removed from your premises. Trust Junk Be Gone for your home, for your business. I do. Use them every year. Junk Be Gone. Tremendous, locally owned, family owned business right here in East Tennessee. JunkBeGone.biz to learn more. All right, let's welcome in our panel for today. We got Bob Hodge, longtime sports writer in this town. Bob, thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Jimmy Himes right there, and you had a little medical work done a couple weeks ago, so it's not, I swear, it's not that Bob slugged him. It's not that. Jimmy, thanks for being here.
It's early.
Swing, though. Yeah. He's too fast for him. Wily Jimmy. Jimmy, of course, WNML, AM, and FM. You can hear him Monday through Friday on Sports Talk from 3 to 7. And right down there from theathletic.com, David Ubben. David, thanks for being back with us.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Like I said, later in the show, we'll start covering some of these topics that our VFL panel will discuss next week as well. But I want to get going with some big picture stuff on Tennessee football. First thing, you know, I've said that I like the idea of the Josh Heupel hire. You've gotten someone who's got a gimmick, for lack of a better word. You know, you could say Chip Kelly had a gimmick in terms of the up-tempo stuff. He's got a gimmick that in past stops has shown that he doesn't necessarily have to have the most talent to win. I think that's great for where Tennessee is right now. So I'm on board of, not that I'm a huge believer in Heupel. I like the idea of the hire, so that's good. But here's what I hate. Absolutely detest about the Josh Heupel hire. You're going to get ready for long football games this year. Let me go ahead and put up a graphic and show you this. Pack a lunch, folks, because these games are going to go forever. Central Florida's games are over on the left from last year. They played 10 games. Tennessee's are over on the right. They played 10 games. I just put them in order so you can look. UCF longer week 1, longer week 2, longer week 3, longer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They had four-hour games last year. Tennessee had one that was under 3. Now, Tennessee ran it constantly. UCF, they're trying to run all these plays, a million plays. But you see the average time. You're throwing another 40 minutes onto a game. It's like an hour. I hate this, especially for the night games that all the fans love, because it means I'm going to be up till dawn putting this show together. Where are you guys on this? Just from those of you down there who have to work it, from you as a fan who likes to get to bed early and get up early, where are you guys on having a much longer Saturday now for Tennessee football?
It will impact me more than the guys that actually work it, because the guy that I go to the games with, Mike Butler, does not leave until it's over.
Hang on, you dropped a name there. Let me pick that up. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter if Tennessee's winning by 40, losing by 40. We stay until it. We were the last people, I think, at that Vandy game 2 years ago that got storm delayed. Yeah. So for me, I'm not thrilled. Not thrilled
with the long-lasting game. Jimmy, from a media perspective, or from a viewer's perspective, you got both. So where are you on these? A 4-hour game versus a 3-hour game?
I'm probably a little bit more mixed. I don't really care to be there that long, because I've got to get up and do an early Sunday morning show for radio and then your TV show. So it impacts me personally. But I'll say this, if it's a 48-45 game and it's exciting, okay, that's fine. I remember Tennessee winning a double overtime against Florida that took forever, but it was an exciting game. So it kind of depends on how the game goes. But I do expect the longer games, not just because I think Tennessee's going to score, so at least you got something to cheer about for you, for a Tennessee fan. They're also going to give up a lot of points, and that is another reason the game's going to go a lot longer.
David, where are you on
I
this
mean, me
thing?
personally, I don't really care. I mean, college football is my favorite sport. I have never been watching a game and said this is too long. Now, the flip side of that is, just from a media perspective, sure, like driving back from Alabama or whatever at like 2 in the morning, I might change my tune a little bit. You can call me that point. But I think, I think that's one thing that fans maybe aren't thinking about. It's kind of like when they put games on ESPN Plus and fans, it's game day, and fans are, where's this game? I don't know. I think fans don't really realize this, and I also, I'm not taking 2 kids and my wife to the game. Like, I think that's going to impact people, especially a couple noon games in September. I've been around. It can be it's going to be a little heated.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think, I think people don't realize how much it's going to impact them, but it is going to be very, very different.
Yeah, I mean, you may be sitting there, what's 30 minutes in a day? But if you think about it, all we talk about, a lot of people talk about, are how long NFL games are, how long college football games are. They tried to shorten the games, which they didn't really. They shortened the actual play time so they could add in commercial breaks.
Right.
So they lengthened it again. You're talking about an extra 30, 40 minutes. That is a chunk of time.
No,
that's going to drag.
If you're at the stadium and it's an 8 o'clock kickoff and the game doesn't end until after midnight, I mean, that's a big difference. But I will say this, to Dave's point about watching games and being exciting, I stayed up and watched the LSU Texas A&M game 2 years ago, which went on forever.
Yeah.
I was at home, but I wasn't going to turn the game off until it was over. So if you do have a good back and forth kind of game, okay, it'll lighten that load a little bit. But it is when they're down 40-0 at halftime.
I've sat in front of my screen because I watch it on the big screen at home. We got guys who are at the stadium. I watch it on the big screen so I can sit there and make notes, play stuff back. Oh, no, he did step out of bounds, that kind of stuff. There have been many a day where I have been screaming at the screen, just end, take a knee, end. So that, and also think about this. It's a noon kickoff at Tennessee. The biggest game in the country is Georgia LSU at 3:30 on CBS. Yeah, you're not going to be able to watch it in time because your game won't be over. It won't kick till noon 05, and it won't be over until 4:15. So you'll miss 45 minutes of the other game. I also wonder from a business perspective, small thing, but there is a end of drinking time in this town, I guess. So is this going to cut into the nighttime business, the post game? If you're taking an hour away. If people are getting out of the stadium 45 minutes, an hour later, how much money is that taking out of the bar's pockets and the restaurant's pockets down there on the Strip?
Depends on whether they win or lose.
I think it's something, Danny White has talked a lot about innovation, and trying to figure out, enhance the game day experience. And this is something he's going to have to plan for. I mean, at UCF, they got pretty live. The bounce house is pretty fun down there. Neyland's a little different. It's bigger, but it's not quite as live in a lot of times. And I think that's something, when those games stretch out, they got to figure out something along those lines. I think that's something that he's got to plan for.
Well, for a late game, they could put in cots for people like me.
Well, I mean,
sell suites.
A couple of weeks ago,
stay the night.
While you were globe trotting the other day, we actually talked about the fact that Danny White has said he wants it to be innovative, but part of the problem is when they try and do some of that stuff here, you have an older fan base than you had at UCF. You have a more tradition-rich school as well. So when they brought in a DJ, our own Sterling Hinton, which a lot of schools now do, there was some backlash to that, saying, loud music. And it was just from Bob. So I wonder how much that crew is going to sit there and say, I got to get home from my remedies.
I think he's still trying to figure out what innovation.
And I'm in that group, by the way.
I think he's still trying to figure. I talked to him a little bit about this a while back. I think he's still trying to figure out what innovation kind of means for Tennessee. I think the LED lights, the only thing that jump out is like something that's come to college football. And I told him, those are great in person. They're terrible on TV. We'll see. I don't know. I think what innovation means for Tennessee is still TBD.
I can hear Tennessee fans saying, I'm going to have to buy Ray Charles glasses. This great big wraparound strip, right? All right. When we come back, let's talk about some other misconceptions, I think, because I continue to hear people talk about, he's going to throw it all over the yard, and he's going to throw deep constantly. Went and did the numbers, and we'll show you UCF's offense from last year versus UT's offense from last year. And we'll kind of compare what those look like. That's next on The Sports Source. Come on back.